About 6 weeks ago, I last made a video talking about the Mig Switch device that purports to allow you to back up your legally owned Nintendo Switch games. But anyone that's being intellectually honest knows it's just a piracy device. There, I said it. You can start flaming me in the comments below, hitting that unsubscribe button and that thumbs down as fast as you possibly can while you're sitting there in your basement waiting for your mom to make you more Hot Pockets. But anyhow, I digress. There's 3 things I want to accomplish here in this video. Number 1, figure out what the current status is on this Mig Switch for the purposes of finding out if I'm still right or not in my assertion or implication that the Mig Switch is really just vaporware and or some sort of rug pull. Then I'd like to really finally put to bed all the ridiculous fallacy about the correct use cases or the prominent use cases for this Mig Switch device. And then finally, I intend on starting actually calling out content creators here that have just embraced and loved and cheerleaded and said all sorts of nicey things about the Mig Switch because they know, quite frankly, that's where their bread is buttered. Let's start with the current state of affairs of this Mig Switch. As if you recall, I stated in my previous videos that I had a number of data points that led me to believe this thing wasn't real or at best was some sort of complex rug pull. Among other things, I noted that we really didn't get a lot of good information from the original sources. There was that one video of someone putting what was clearly a prototype Mig Switch, sticking it in out of a machine. Everyone ate that up like it was manna from heaven. And that, of course, got a certain number of content creators excited and interested in talking about it and giving it a lot of free publicity. We since then saw a Mig Switch website come up that originally promised some things that eventually they backed away from, like having a dumper device bundled with the Mig Switch. That ended up not being the case, and a lot of backpedaling in terms of whether or not that was actually going to come out or when they're going to come out, or some production issues, all sorts of excuses. And then eventually you had people receive these Mig Switch devices, which I'm going to either call prototypes or early units that were meant to tease, tantalize people and get the end users to send money to the prospective distributors that they've recruited for these devices. But nonetheless, at this point, as far as I'm concerned, it's still vaporware because no end users have a Mig Switch in their little greedy hands yet. And from what I can tell as of the time I'm recording this, I see no evidence or information that says anyone that signed up to be a distributor of the Mig Switch has actually received any product that they paid for. Oh, and by the way, in the time since the last video I made, I did receive in confidence a few people who showed me documentation that to my satisfaction proves that my theory was correct, that the process of becoming a distributor entails reaching out to these people, of course anonymous, we won't know who they are, and then they tell you that you have to send them cryptocurrency to purchase a lot of 50 or more of these devices on faith, obviously, that you'll actually receive them in the mail at some point. Well, a lot of people have apparently sent said cryptocurrency because one report I had included an Ethereum network address. I did a little research and found out that from where it stands, apparently somewhere between $80,000 and $100,000 worth of Ethereum was sent to this address. So I suspect a lot of people got taken in and bought into this promise that this thing is a real thing and sent a lot of money to an anonymous Ethereum address in the hopes that perhaps this will come off. Again, no shipments have been received as far as I can tell just yet. So those who said that I'm crazy for calling this a rug pull, I'm not yet that crazy. Time will tell, of course. But, you know, I got to tell you, if you use a little common sense here, a device that's clearly meant to facilitate piracy is stealing the intellectual property of Nintendo, a huge, massive corporation. If you don't think that they're all over trying to figure out and partnering with law enforcement authorities to find out information on who signed up to be a distributor and getting all they need to know to basically intercept any packages that are attempted to be delivered. You're crazy. And if you signed up, particularly if you're someone in the United States who signed up to be a distributor of this stuff, really, do you really think that there's no one keeping an eye on you from some 3-letter agency? Good gravy, man. Come on. No matter where you land on this or how entitled you think you feel to having a Mig Switch or free software, you really have to be ingesting some serious cognitive dissonance juice and having your head in the sand if you don't think that the people that actually signed up and sent cryptocurrency to a random shady address aren't going to get a few visits from some people who are going to have some questions. Come on now. I'm really going to be surprised if any of these actually make it to end users, because honestly, I just don't see Nintendo sitting on its hands and just letting this all happen. It's no coincidence that a few days ago, word came out that the Nintendo Switch 2 is apparently going to be delayed. Yeah, no kidding. They're probably going to have no choice but to either maybe pull out of having any physical media for the Switch 2 or re-engineer things to try and work around the Mig Switch and its capabilities to allow people to pirate the games. If you're complaining and crying about the end of physical media, but you also believe you should have the right to have a Mig Switch and or any games you want for free that you can download off the internet, your opinion doesn't matter. You're an idiot. I'm sorry. I know that's stiff. I know that's super harsh. But here's the thing. You can't reconcile complaining about companies trying to protect their intellectual property, at the same time basically having a worldview that they have no right to any intellectual property. Do you really think that Nintendo should be making you games for free? Do you really think that you are arrogant and self-important enough that you get to decide what Nintendo gets to charge for its games, how much the employees of Nintendo, the developers, the marketers, the artists get to feed their families? You really believe that you are entitled to make all those decisions, that if you don't like a game, it shouldn't cost anything, or it should only cost $5 or something like that? The arrogance and the entitlement of the people in the pro-piracy camp just astounds me and, quite frankly, just irks me. It's just ridiculous. So that dovetails really nicely into the use case for the Mig Switch. I see people all over the place loving to try and justify what's really going on by saying, well, you can back up your games. I really need to be able to back up my games. You know, it'd be one thing if a Nintendo Switch cart was the size of a refrigerator. You'd certainly want to back those up. But, I mean, these things are literally the size of a thumbnail. My favorite justification is, well, what if I go on vacation? I don't want to have to bring all my carts with me. Well, two things for that. Okay, number one, there is a device that just came out recently, the Unitech Game Changer. So the device you can buy now for your Nintendo Switch, and you can plug 8 Switch cartridges up into your Switch. It looks relatively small, at least, but if you're traveling, you can go ahead and, bring 8 Switch cartridges with you. And you know what? If you're bringing if you need to bring more than 8 Switch cartridges on your vacation, what the are you doing on that vacation besides playing Nintendo Switch games? I mean, come on now. That's just intellectually dishonest. And if you're saying, okay, but okay, I don't necessarily need the Unitech changer, but I want to bring all my games with me on vacation. I want to Switch. Okay, no pun intended. I want to Switch. Look, they're small. Okay, here, I'll give you a visual aid here. There's so many ways you could easily bring your Nintendo Switch carts, and they will easily fit into your luggage. Here is a VH copy of Left Behind 2, my favorite Kirk Cameron action movie. Look what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the tape out. I can put all my Switch games. You could put 100 Switch games in here, okay? Put them in, and then, I don't know, take a sock. There we go. We're going to take a sock. There we go. Look at that. Close it up at the end. Put it in your luggage. There you go. This cost me $1 at Goodwill, folks. The sock 50 cents at a yard sale. And I can bring all my Switch games with me. I don't need a Mig Switch. I don't even need the fancy Unitech thing. If you're making the case that you need the Mig Switch for when you go on vacation, you're full of shit. The purpose of the Mig Switch is to pirate games, is to steal them, is to download them from torrent or the dark web or wherever the freak you get them and stick them on a flash card and play them for free without paying for them. Telling me that the Mig Switch is for anything else is just a bunch of crap. And you're just gaslighting. You're not trying to gaslight me. You're gaslighting yourself. That's the part. So I feel bad for the folks that really dig their heels in on this justification and go to town with it. Now, I said I had 3 points to make. The third is content creators. And this is the part that really grinds my gears. Obviously, I'm certainly not in the business here of trying to monetize glorifying the Mig Switch or the people who want it. I'm doing the polar opposite. But I recognize that a lot of the people that were making Mig Switch videos from the moment it was announced up through just recently, my favorite, of course, Alien Retro Gaming. This fella, if you look through his YouTube channel, you can see just right on the front page, his most recent videos, basically making sweet love to the Mig Switch, got far more traffic than his other videos typically get. Now, I'm not going to come down on him for being a bad person. I'm going to admit this is a very smart YouTuber. This is a very smart content creator. This is someone who's recognized that there's an audience that can be monetized. And his videos, like, delightfully going over all the amazing features of the Mig Switch and how you can use it to totally back up your games, knows that there's a lot of people that will consume that content, and that means ad revenue for Alien Retro Gamer. That means money in his pocket. This is someone who is savvy and self-aware. As a matter of fact, I recently found this YouTube short where I guess he was a guest on someone else's podcast and effectively confessed that 96%, in his words, of the people buying the Mig Switch were doing it for piracy. Let's go to the tape.
But more than likely, they just want the flash cut because they're going to be getting their games off the internet and downloading them, pirating them, basically. And I think that's the core thing here. Ain't no one buying this really to back up their games. I reckon 96% of people that are buying the flash cut is to do piracy, and they know that.
So cheers, mate. You know how to make money off of, well, people who want things for free. But it doesn't mean that the content's good content. That's really kind of bottom feeding if you want to be completely honest about it. It's not entertaining. You see, you don't need to be talented or entertaining to be an enabler. To tell people what they want to hear. That it's okay to opt out of capitalism if you think it's mean-spirited. It's okay to steal software if you don't agree that it's worth something. That's enabling behavior. And yes, you figured out, Alien Retro Gamer and the other content creators that have made very affectionate Mig Switch videos. You figured it out. You figured out that there's money in being an enabler. And I suppose that's fine. It's your right to do that. Bully on you. But I do find it interesting that the folks who are making money off of the hatred of other people making money. And that's what the anti-capitalist movement is all about. I'm Doug, and we'll see you next time on It's All Doug in Games.